Good morning, everybody. Abrupt end of the music this morning. Keith Engle here for TGI Sports Talks. Are you serious? Excuse me. I'll be joined by the Mad New Yorker, my co-host on this show, in just a couple of minutes. Still some music playing. Want to welcome everybody who are watching us today on Let's Talk Sports, TGI Sports Talk, Northeast Streaming Sports, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter. Actually, you may not get us live on Twitter for a little while because I'm playing around with my feeds, trying to get a better connection. I feel like I'm hesitating. I'm watching myself now doing a little max headroom thing. Guys, if you do business with Spectrum and you don't get good service, I don't know what to tell you, but find a new provider. I wish I had one. I don't have any place else to go. I'm paying for 500 Mbps, whatever the frick you call it. I don't know. I'm not a technician. But I had a guy come out here. And he gets to my door and he says, I don't know why they send me. I can't help you. I called them yesterday. They're sending me a new router and modem. That'll be 3 since I moved here a month ago. Guys, if you have other choices besides Spectrum, use them. Oh, God. How awful is this? Anyway, we're going to get into some stuff today with the Mad New Yorker. I've been so obsessed with this. I haven't done my normal planning for this show, so I apologize. We'll talk about Ohtani getting taken off the trade market. Will it open up? We had a couple of trades yesterday. And I think we'll see a bunch over the weekend. Saquon Barkley signs his franchise tender with a $2 million bumper, bump and a bonus. All guaranteed, by the way. What else we talk about? Talk about the new NIL bill, the PASS Act. Bipartisan. You don't hear those words in Washington very often anymore. By Joe Manchin, senator from West Virginia, and Tommy Tuberville, former head coach at Ole Miss, Auburn, Texas Tech, Cincinnati, now a senator, Republican senator. Thank you very much, Senator, from Alabama. I don't know if it's going to have any effect, but we'll talk about a little bit about that. Maybe we'll talk, if we have time. There's a story I came across, I think, as I was doing the college football huddle Wednesday, that Colorado is now talking about going back to the Pac-12. Leaving the Pac-12, going back to the Big 12. Colorado and the whole south of the Big 12 is what started this whole realignment mess back in 2012. When the rumor was the whole South Division was going to the Pac-12, and that's when Nebraska left, and blah, blah, blah. Anyway, we'll get into a lot of that with our our co-host, Carlos, the Mad New Yorker Chavez. How are you?
Happy Friday, everybody.
Good to have you.
All right.
What do you guys use for internet in the city?
My man, once Verizon came through with the Fios, I signed right up.
Freaking Fios. They came up here and they did about, I don't know, one quarter of 2 counties, and then Charter shut them down. Charter Communications, which is Spectrum and some other stuff, they just shut them down from expanding any further. Everybody I know who has Fios loves it.
I mean, we pay for it.
Well, I told the guy, we're off the topic, and I don't even care today, so we'll talk about Spectrum for an hour here. I've had a problem. I call. Well, first of all, they send me the equipment. It doesn't work. I have to get a tech out the first day I'm here. Then I went a week, and it was great. Now, down here where I have my office and my studio and whatnot, I've been having constant problems. So I call them. They send a tech out who's not really a tech. He doesn't work for Spectrum. He's just an independent contractor.
Third party, son.
I open the door, and the first thing he says is, I don't know why I'm here. I can't help you.
My question to you, Keith, is...
I'm excited when somebody tells me that, by the way, when I have a problem. I really get excited, as you can imagine.
Did you get a referral?
Did you get a referral? Oh, anyway, you talk about money. Then the guy goes, I can't help you. You really need to call the company, and they need to give you money back. I said, I don't want money back. I'll pay you a fair rate. I don't care. Whatever you tell me is fair, I'll pay. All I want is what I pay for. That's all. I'm an easy guy to get along with.
You know what's funny? Here in New York, back in the day, you used to pay like high end prices for cable, but then the black box appeared and people were like buying those off the shelves.
The black, yeah, well, I had those
Yeah,
myself.
you remember those? Yeah, and so like it was funny because people were paying cable like sometimes it'd go off, but the people who had the black boxes didn't pay almost nothing. We're getting good cable.
Okay, yeah, Spectrum is terrible. Dave was helping me out with my test earlier. Thank you, Dave. Thank you to Ray and Judy Phillips if you're out there today. They were helping me out. Good day, everyone from CA. Good to have you with us. Still need 3 people, 3 more teams for the Fantasy Football League from TGI Sports Talk. Go to the page. You can get the link, and I'll try to remember to put it in the show here. And then good morning to you, Dave. Oh, Carlos, where do we start today? Good gosh.
I mean, it's been a busy night. It's been a busy night in sports. I mean, here I am just trying to relax and watch FIFA World Cup, the women's tournament, and I'm just like, and then all of a sudden all this news starts to break out all over the place. Take your pick, man. I got things for every.
Well, I mean, yesterday, I think the biggest news of the last couple of days is the Angels saying we're all in. We're not trading Ohtani.
Yeah.
And that kind of opens. I think everybody was waiting to see what happened with Ohtani before any trades got made. A couple trades did get made. Giolito gets traded to the Angels. Angels, obviously, I think the Angels, and I said here last week, you and I talked about it. I still think when you're a team like the Angels, who are not legitimate contenders, can they make the playoffs? Yes. Can they win? No. They should trade them and then try to get them back in the offseason. Their strategy seems to be keep them, buy, and show him you want to win.
Yeah, here's the thing about
the strategy is.
I think there's 2 different business perspectives because here in New York, it's like sell, sell, sell. And in Los Angeles, it's like keep. And I feel like that's more of a business move to try to be relevant, right? You have the best player in baseball, and you have to make money back on your investment. And if they sold Ohtani, if they traded him, that park would be empty. Like maybe the season ticket holders who have kids and their friends would be there, but they're not. It wouldn't be what it is today.
Yeah.
And then if you flip side that to here at good old Citi Field, named after a bank, they're selling parts off like they're going out of business, and it's just a different business perspective from 2 business owners who are worried about their wallets and really not worried about the game. I mean, if you look at it.
As we talked about last week, that's the business model. Screw the fan, put money in my pocket. That's why our commissioner is back.
And not necessarily like screw the fans, but they're just like, looking forward to next year, the couple years in front of them. And it's like, you have to do that, but to what extent? Because not everybody's going to be like Leo Hertzinga and put together a Miami Marlins team that wins the World Series. And I feel also like, this guy's done for the LA Rams. Like, I feel like that's a strategy some of these owners are like try to go to just try to make money back quick. And you can get burned on that because you're logistically getting players that are either peaking or at their peak or coming off their peak, right? You don't get the younger players because you don't know. You get them for potential and to sell. You don't keep those guys around to be part of your team as far as like in the game, right? Unless you have a few spots that you have to actually use them, So and that I feel like that was back then. Baseball's a different animal now, and that strategy even in the NFL or any other sport doesn't necessarily work, but it's like that light you can't get your eyes off of, like you're like a deer in the headlights. You're like, wow, they won a championship by signing all these players, and we can do that too because we have that opportunity, and it doesn't always work out.
Good morning to Bob and Shadette.
Morning, Bob.
How are you? My dad and stepmom. Good to have you with us. Alan, good morning, Alan. Alan says, I don't know why I'm here. I can't help you. Ohtani to the Angels. Well, that goes to my point. Alan, stick around for a second. I think you keep disappearing when I keep using your test case or your perfect case last year of not trading Mark Ted Perez at the trade deadline what at his highest value you're ever going to have for him. And then if you wanted him, you would have re-signed him in the off season. So I don't know. To me, that shows them fans I want to win too. If I bring in a bunch of prospects, then go get Ohtani, I show my fans I want to win. But I guess right now the most important thing is they want to show him
They have to make their money back, Keith. And if you get rid of Ohtani,
you get money back there, man.
You get money back, but you don't get fans back. Like,
no.
You don't get them in the seats. I mean, it's tough. It's a tough
look at Moreno. I was going to say Omar Moreno. That's not his name. He played with the Pirates about 1 million years ago. Artie Moreno is the guy making the final call here, and he must look at this team can't win the World Series. I don't care if they bring in Verlander, Scherzer. They already brought Giolito in yesterday. He's a really good major league pitcher. And every hitter available. They're not winning the World Series, this team. They just aren't. And, well, I don't know what it does show him. I don't know.
Well, Keith, nobody said that about the Phillies, that they were going to go to make a playoff run either. So baseball is baseball, and you got to keep chugging along, man. It's like it's one of those marathons where you think you might be out of it, and then all of a sudden, 2 or 3 people cramp up, and all of a sudden, you're in 5th place, and you're closer to 3rd, and you think, and then by the time you know it, you're in the race, man. So,
well, we got just 4 days now, so Ohtani's staying. We know that, and I've read a bunch of articles leading up to this announcement that what was really log jamming and holding up the trade deadline and trades actually getting made was what was going to happen to Ohtani. Now we got 4 days left. Are we going to see an avalanche of trades or not? Because you got so many buyers, the cost is going to be pretty hefty for some of these guys that are going to be available.
Yeah, I mean, it's every trade for MLB. It comes down to the last 2 days for the last 3 seasons, I believe. Atlanta Braves picked up like 8 players 2 years ago, and they won a World Series. So, it's possible that you can make moves, and sometimes the moves look like they're crazy or like, that they might backfire, but it works sometimes.
Listen, by the way, before I get off Ohtani, after this news comes out, he had a pretty good day yesterday. He pitches a shutout in the first game. Was it a complete game shutout or wasn't it?
No, he was close.
No, it was his first complete game in the major leagues. It was his first complete game. So he pitches a shutout in the opener, hits 2 home runs in the second game. First major leaguer to do that, by the way. We keep getting these first major leaguers to do stuff by Ohtani, and it's amazing.
It's ridiculous.
And the Babe Ruth comparisons are nice. Listen, to me, Babe Ruth is the most important figure in the history of pro sports because every athlete today should say a little prayer to Babe Ruth when they go to bed at night, because if it wasn't for Babe Ruth, we wouldn't have sports the way we have them today. With that said, the comparisons of Ohtani and Babe Ruth aren't quite fair because Babe Ruth didn't do what Ohtani's doing today. He didn't pitch and play every day at the same time, ever.
Well, if we listen to all the folklore and all the tales, he did it inebriated, which is even more astonishing. I mean, who knows? I mean, we hear about it in the books and we read about it, but there's no comparison because we haven't seen it, right? So, but we know by statistics, what Ohtani's doing in today's game.
Well,
it's remarkable.
I know some Yankee fans of mine who think Ohtani is a seriously overrated player, ESPN creation. Ohtani is a tremendous athlete, tremendous baseball player, and I'm telling you, he's doing something Babe Ruth, and that's always a comparison is to Babe Ruth. He was a pitcher, he was a hitter, but he was never both regularly at the same time ever in his career, ever.
How about this, Keith? If you had to pick between Ohtani, Judge, and who was this guy in the Padres? What's his name?
Soto.
Who would you pick on your team for a playoff run? Like, who do you want on your roster?
Well, if it's this playoff run, I want Ohtani because Ohtani's healthy and Judge isn't.
Right. I mean,
it depends because the situation with Judge and Ohtani is a little different because of the franchise Judge plays for and whatnot. That's why he's But he's never going to pitch. He's never going to go out there and throw a shutout. I can tell you that.
How about this? If you were to get Ohtani, if he was on the market and was available, you get a pitcher, you get a fielder, and you get a DH. And you don't usually get half of that with a person that plays that one position.
He would have been the most unique trade deadline acquisition in the history of baseball. Now that's not going to happen. So you brought up Soto a second ago. There's some rumblings in San Diego that they're listening to offers for Soto.
Soto, Snell. I think they're on they're on the sellers, on a semi-sellers, type of situation there in San Diego. But I mean, again, wallets got to be open, and the trades have to make sense for the Padres, not for whoever's giving away players and writing paychecks. So and just to finish off on the Ohtani thing, I mentioned on the show and on the other show, it doesn't matter who wants Ohtani. What matters is where does Ohtani want to be, and it was critical that he stayed on the West Coast for him. He spoke about that. He's mentioned that since he arrived in LA, and I don't think, as much as there's historical, it'll be historical, to have a player like that for the Yankees. I don't think the East Coast was somewhere he wanted to be.
I don't believe he wants to play in New York or, as you said, anywhere on the East Coast. So that eliminates, by making those statements, by the way, if I'm Ohtani and his agent, I don't take the Yankees and Mets out of the equation. Maybe I don't seriously consider them, but I want them in the sweepstakes because that only raises my price.
Right? Yeah. So he could. I mean, a lot of players say a lot of things, but at the end of the day, it's the agents making the moves. And I mean, the Mets are in serious play because the person that got Ohtani here is now currently GM for the Mets. So I feel like baseball should do what MLS did, and people might laugh and scoff at soccer here in the United States, but they gave Messi an opportunity that no other player will have probably within the next 10 years. And ownership of a team, contract money, and promotional money and branding. So
he's got to be the highest paid player in sports when you figure everything in, isn't he?
Right. So and then you talk about the even with Adidas, the contract that Adidas was able to give him, it's just remarkable. And so if baseball would just open their eyes to the opportunities instead of putting patches on these jerseys, man, let's work up a deal.
Don't even get me going. Seeing patches on the iconic Yankee jersey makes me want to barf.
I'm a marketing guy, but some of the stuff I see is like,
listen,
it's too much.
We're a storied franchise, and we're not putting your name on the uniform because it's about the team and it's not about the player. That's what they've always said about why there's no names on the uniforms.
It's a new era.
Give me some money, and I'll put somebody else's name on the uniform.
How about this? If you were if you were one of those people that were hired by the Yankees as a reporter or any kind of you wouldn't have any issues with Spectrum. Let me tell you that.
Don't get me going again. I'll go on for another half an hour. It's hard to get me going. Ask my wife. Things get stuck in my craw, man. They don't go away very easy. So, I was going to say, listen, sticking out on Tony for a second. He's staying there for the rest of the year, as we know. Mm-hmm. In the offseason, don't discount the San Francisco Giants in this whole thing. Remember, they were willing to spend a bunch of money last year on Carlos Correa and Judge, and they only didn't get them because, well, they're lucky they didn't get Correa probably. Didn't they have a deal similar to the Mets? They had a deal in place with Correa, but the
autopsy didn't come through.
Yeah, the autopsy went badly.
No, I mean, like the physical situation, that whole deal, especially here in the media, was so blown up and out of whack. It's just, it's one of those situations like, why'd you even go out that far?
I'm going to steal that line. I got to tell you, that's the best line I've heard at least today. And I know it's only 8:00, but I'm going to steal that autopsy line. I love that. I can use that for a lot of guys, not just Korea. Anyway, who's going to be the big I mean, Padres, I got to believe, are done. I think they're going to sell.
Yeah.
They're fooling themselves if they think they're going to make this ground up with the team they got in place.
My dark horse is Snell. I think
Yeah.
somebody's gonna do something and try to pick him up. I don't think he's. I think he's like done playing for the situation and wants to be in the situation. Like, like it's one thing that because he in Tampa, he had opportunity. In the last couple of years being in the Padres, he had opportunity, and now like he wants to win the World Series, man. I mean,
my problem with Snell is he throws so many pitches. He doesn't go deep into games because he can't. He kills my bullpen. He pitches 5 innings and throws 120 pitches. He might pitch well, but it takes him a lot of pitches to get the job done. And that's one of my worries about him. And listen, he's a good. He'll be traded.
Yeah, I think though for the runs that you make in the playoffs, you want a guy like Snell. It's good to have somebody like that in your pocket, man, or in your bullpen. You know what I'm saying? So
yeah, it's going to be interesting 4 days because, like I said, there are still, even with some teams now, and we'll go into this. I'll be going into this a lot more on the MLB update later today, and my local baseball guru Drew Ehrlich will join me to kind of break down some of the possibilities. But I mean, every team in the American League East is buying. Every team will be buying.
What are Yankees going to do, man?
Yankees are going to buy, and they're going to try to get Judge back, which maybe he's going to start a rehab assignment here in a week or so. It's possible.
It's possible he starts today.
He's not coming back without. Oh, in the minor leagues, yeah. It's possible, yes.
I mean, that's the talk around here.
There's some red flags here, and I'm a little concerned that they may rush him back in this. Now you lose.
Oh my goodness! I mean, there's no telling, especially with a toe injury. And you were right on point. Look at this, everybody. Give Mr. Keith Engle a point. Like he said it's more than just a toe sprain. He's like.
I said the day they said he's day to day. I said he's going to be out for months.
He said that. You said that, man. And it just, why would they hide something like that? And it wouldn't have mattered at the end because look at what they've been doing.
I personally think the Yankees ought to sell. They could still sell, as they did in 2016. They sold and brought up Sanchez and Judge and Tyler Austin and some other guys. And they played better after they traded Chapman away. And I don't remember who else they traded away. But they also remember, to my theory about trading guys, they re-signed Chapman in that offseason. But I don't think they're going to do that because Judge and Boone need to win. Most likely, they got to at least make the playoffs if they want to keep their jobs.
It's a tough call because are they willing to give up on those players that are in between the minors and ready to go?
I don't think they're making any trades that cost them. Well, guys we talked about last week, Peraza or Dominguez. They've been
trying to put Gleyber Torres now on the market, and nobody wants to catch that fish. So I don't know.
I mean, I would do that in a second because DJ's played better recently. I can play him at third and Peraza at second, or vice versa. I guess it doesn't really matter. Peraza's played well enough in his recall, I think, to say we can trust him in the second half. As much as I can trust Gleyber. Gleyber is another guy. He's almost like Stanton. He'll have a couple good games and people go, he's back. He's back. We can't trade him. He's untouchable.
That's my guy.
And then he goes into a funk for, a month.
But Keith, that's baseball. How about this, man?
No. 2 good games in a bad month is not baseball unless you're freaking,
the Mets.
a bad player on the Mets, yes.
I mean, I guess the problem is that, you want that ROI, right? You want the return on investment, and he hamstring a lot of the situations that the Yankees could have been in, positive wise, but that contract it's steep. That contract is steep for Stanton. That is.
I'd move him too and eat a bunch of the money.
Oh, George.
I'd eat a bunch of the money. I'm the Yankees. I can eat the money. I can.
This generation of Steinbrenners don't believe they can eat anything.
No, they're penny. They're like penny pitchers. I mean, look, they still got one of the highest payrolls in baseball. But when you watch Steve Cohen across the way, just like saying, "I want that," he's like a kid in a freaking toy store.
I just,
Um,
I mean, I don't understand. It's like it's $1 billion team, and they will always have players that want to play for the Yankees. They haven't been in the World Series, but with the penny pinching, it's where is that money going that you're penny pinching? What are
well,
you
here's
using
the
it?
problem. They paid out big contracts to guys like Stanton, and then after that, you want a penny pinch with the bench players. You want a penny pinch with the bullpen. You can't win that way.
I mean, there's no.
Which is why Cashman needs to go. He's the guy who spent all this money.
You keep saying that, Keith. Who are you replacing him with, man?
I'll replace him with you, Carlos. I at this point, I will replace him with you.
Don't do that. My phone might ring right now. No, don't do that.
This isn't a rash thing, right? Where Tom Thibodeau's a coach for the Knicks for a year and you want to fire him.
I never wanted him on the team to begin with. So.
He had 25 years to prove himself. The first couple World Series they won when he was a young kid, basically in his early 30s, were not his teams. They were Gene Michael's teams, and so he's got really one World Series win under his belt in my mind in 25 years.
And yet people still want to play. People still want to play for the Yankees. They signed
because they pay the most money.
They signed Garrett Cole. They have Judge. I don't know. I mean,
there's a lure to playing in New York, but it's not what it was once. You have to overpay players to come here all the time. They overpaid for Stanton. They overpaid for A-Rod. They overpay for everybody they have come in here. That's the problem.
They've been doing this. They've been doing this even before Reggie Jackson. I don't know what you expect different from the Yankees.
Again, maybe I'm the crazy one. I think they're crazy for doing the same things over and over again. Maybe I'm the crazy one for thinking they'll stop doing these crazy things. So
there's a saying out there.
I'm the insane
There's a saying out there in the business world, Keith. Money begets more money.
Anyway. Well, this is true. This is true. I just saw a little blip. I hope we are not having problems, guys. If we're having problems with this show, audio, visual, please call Spectrum right away. Get on their emergency line.
Don't call me. I'm expecting the Yankees to call me in the next few minutes.
I'll tell you, the Yankees will be calling Carlos to be their next GM. Let's move on a little bit because what do you want to talk about next? Saquon? What do you think about Saquon? This shouldn't take long. We've talked about Saquon for a month now.
Yeah, I'm surprised that everything worked out in Giants' favor, right? Okay. Like, the situation that...
Well, this works out in everybody's favor, really. I mean,
not really.
He's going to get about $14 million this year. $15 million probably with incentives.
Incentives, yeah, but he's got to make those incentives. And
but it's long-term. I mean, it's not long-term. That's the deal, that he wanted a long-term contract, and I do not blame him.
No.
Shelf life is only so long for a running back in the NFL.
Right. And good. Kudos to him for being the bigger person, for being the bigger giant for this situation. Because again, he could have sat out. He could have just wanted that multi-year like huge contract. And I think the thing that kind of like irks people, because it is about money, is that he went out to say from even before last year that he wanted that McCaffrey type of money. So the moment he said that, they're like, oh, well, he's just being like selfish. Like, no, I mean, these guys are humans. They have a shelf life in the position they play. They have their own personal situations, and this is what they do for a living. So, it's not like he's going to be a running back for 20 years and claim retirement. It's athletes are different, and they have a lot of work to do. Like, if you're a former athlete or you even played in high school, like, that it's a grueling season for any sport that you play. You wake up in the morning, you run 2 to 6 miles, whatever your sport requires of you. You got to go to classes, and then you're trying to do high school stuff because you're a kid, and then you go back to regular practice, and you got to kind of do the same thing. Then you got weight training, and then sometimes you got if you're a good school and you're playing a good team, you practice on the weekends, or you have tournaments on the weekends. And then in college, it's even compounded even more, where it feels more like a job than it does like something that you want to do for the rest of your life. So, and then when you become a real professional, that it's all you do is you work out, take care of your body, and make sure that you do your job. And it might sound like it's easy and they're playing a kid's game, but it's not a kid's life; it's a man's life, and you know.
I think the big winner in this whole thing is Shine, the GM, because he held his ground and he comes out a big winner in this whole thing.
I'm surprised he said his name because I believe that he almost poo-pooed his first few years of tenure here as a New York Giants GM because you can't throw money around that's not yours. And he was doing that, saying that the Giants wanted to keep Daniel Jones and Saquon, and he was able to do that. I can't believe that he was able to do that because I'm not a big fan of his or Daboll, and hey, kudos to him and kudos to the Giants. But here's the thing. Again, these linemen that they have right now on the roster that are getting practice in, getting ready to go, who's going to block for these? Who's going to block for you, man? Who's going to help you become and get your incentives this year?
Well, that's their job, is to be able to pay the big guys and find the bargains to be able to block for them. That's how that's how the game's played today.
The Giants roster looks nice. So these guys are like averaging 6'4" and over 280, but that don't mean nothing at the end of the day. They got to make sure that they make it count, all that weight on the field, right? You got to make sure it counts on the field.
I think Shine's a winner here because he went. Yeah, he played chicken with his best player, and he wins because
lucky
Barkley blinked, and I'm surprised it happened this quickly in the camp. Good for the Giants that it did. But.
Sean did one thing that was very smart, and it was like not to. He showed his card, but he also knew what he had behind him. Like he did his homework. Like he knew that the NFLPA is and the situation with running backs, and he understood that. So it allowed the Giants to win that situation for sure.
I also have to tell you and tell every NFL running back right now, guys, shut up. You guys make a decent living. I understand you don't think it's fair. But that's the way it works in the NFL, and these things are cyclical. It'll come back to you at some point in time. It might be 10 years from now. But running backs will get paid based on how – it's just like it's the free market system that we have in this country. Your value is based on the perception of people's thoughts about your value to what you bring. If they think there are 20 other people they can replace you with, you're not going to get paid as much as the guy. There's only a handful of people they can replace you with.
Well, I think the problem with the running back situation was like, and the same thing with the quarterback situation is when you pay these guys like McCaffrey, you paid him he was the top most contract that they gave out. And then guys are in the top 10 say they say that they're like McCaffrey, but let's say their stats are a little bit different because they're better in some things and not as good as others.
But he's good at everything. That's why he's different than everybody else. Him and Barkley both.
So here you go. So here's my thing. Eckler's up for a contract. He re-signed for for a year. Do you think he gets that kind of money?
Which kind of McCaffrey money?
Yeah, Eckler.
No, I think we've shown with the Barkley deal that the money's not going to be there.
And that's the problem. That's the problem. Just show me once, and then you take it away.
They just made their quarterback the highest paid player in the NFL. So no, he's not getting paid. No.
Again, and there goes to show that the favoritism and
it's not favoritism. It's about what the market bears, and the market says the value of this position is down. That's just the way it works. Okay,
but roster-wise, trying to keep players. Do you believe Saquon Barkley holds more value than Daniel Jones?
Yeah.
Then why did you sign Daniel Jones first and gave him guaranteed money? And you're not willing to sign
because the positions are not equal. I can't go out and get a player that is as comparable to a Daniel Jones. This is a Giants making the decision. I agree with it. They can't find a player to fill Daniel Jones's position that's good enough at a better price. So you got to go out and pay him the market value. Who are they going to replace him with?
My man, this ain't Walmart. Look,
it's the same premise. It's the same premise as doing business anywhere else. Who do I need to pay the most money? The guy I can least afford to let go. The running back position, and again, Barkley's one of the best. I think him and McCaffrey, when healthy, are the two best guys in the game. But there are other guys you could replace them with and not lose. The drop-off isn't going to be as big as it is from Daniel Jones to Tyrod Taylor. I mean, come on.
So you're going on the belief that you believe that Daniel Jones is a top 10 quarterback, and he's not.
I think I went through it. I think he is.
No, it's not. Anyways, so here's the deal.
Well, actually, hold on. You're right. My thinking was this. We had the same conversation last week. I said he's top 15. You still disagree. Maybe we'll go through this real quick. We might have time. And Sean even said, we're paying him. He's got to step up his game because we are paying him like a top 10 quarterback.
Right.
To play like one. So he didn't admit he was a top 10 quarterback. They expect him to be a top 10 quarterback, though.
So here go the problem. That's the
and
issue.
The progression's been towards that, Carlos.
Yeah, but progression is one thing, reality is another. So here's the thing. Here's the thing about what Saquon's thing is. Another thing is that we don't know exactly what his agent was going for when they're talking about even contractual situations. So that's another thing that kind of like, I think that was making him a little bit nervous as well. Like, he has a new agent. Is it going to be, even if he's asking for the same thing, is that going to even happen because of what? The fact of the matter is that when Daniel Jones got signed, it changed the whole landscape for him. So, again, like I said, if I was a GM, I would have got rid of both of them because I knew the financial situation.
Let's go through these teams real quick, and you tell me which teams have a better quarterback situation than the Daniel Jones situation in New York. And you got to factor in injury, and you got to factor in everything. Okay. A couple of these are easy. Buffalo, no. Dolphins?
They got two quarterbacks better than Daniel Jones.
Well, that neither one can stay on the field. So
okay, but Daniel Jones can't stay on the field either. He hasn't started every single game.
When did he get injured? Did he miss a terrible time last year? Did he have 7 concussions?
He came back from an injury to start.
Did he play one game and get hurt like Mike White does every single time he gets in a game?
Okay, fine. So his injury is less situational.
I'm giving that one to Daniel Jones. That's one. Patriots right now, and I love Mac Jones. Right now, he's better than Mac Jones. Up until today. The end of the season, that probably will change.
They're like twins, man. All right.
That's 2. Jets, no.
Wait, Aaron Rodgers, no. Right.
No. Bengals, no. Ravens, no.
Joe Burrow just got hurt. We don't know what's going to happen.
Well, again, let's assume he's
but you're talking about the injury thing. But still, even Burrow coming back and plays better than Daniel Jones coming back hurt. So yeah.
All right. Yeah. Okay. Steelers. No, the Steelers don't have a better situation. Kenny Pickett is not better than Daniel Jones today.
Not put them on the same boat.
So that's 3. Browns, I'll give you the criminal. I won't mention his name, but I'll give you the criminal.
What?
Jacksonville, Lawrence has progressed and probably is better than Jones now, although there's times they play a lot alike, make bad decisions.
I would still take Lawrence over Jones.
I won't give you anybody else in the South. The Titans, no. He's better than Tannehill.
You think Daniel Jones is better than Tannehill?
Yes.
How many playoffs has Tannehill been in?
I think one more than or 2 more than Daniel Jones has yet to win a game.
3.
Has he won a game?
It doesn't matter. He's been there more than Daniel Jones. And he's done it with less weapons.
See, remember the Giants winning. Anyway, I'm still saying Jones. Colts, it's Jones because this kid they drafted.
I mean, not Trevor Richardson, but Richardson.
Maybe, but right now, no. Texans, no.
Who's the quarterback?
CJ Stroud. I mean, he hasn't shown me anything, and I didn't even play it down. No, 5. Chiefs, obviously not. Chargers, obviously not. Raiders, better than Jimmy G if Jimmy G can even play.
Nah, you can't do that, man. You cannot say that Daniel Jones is better than Jimmy G, man.
He's better.
You might not like Jimmy G because he looks good, but you can't say.
They let Jimmy G throw the ball 8 times in an NFC Championship game. How much confidence does the team have in him?
It don't matter. He's been to the AFC Championship. He's been to a Super Bowl. He's been to a couple, no?
He's played in 1, yes.
But he's been to a few.
On crutches, he was to another. No, he's been to 1.
With the Patriots, he didn't go to any Super Bowls.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, well, holding a clipboard. Yes, he played some. That doesn't make a better quarterback than Daniel Jones because he held a clipboard in 4 Super Bowls for the Patriots.
Didn't Daniel Jones hold a clipboard?
Oh God, not like my boy from Ohio State, Hoyer can. I'm going to say he's better than Russell Wilson right now.
No way. You're.
Unless
I want. What kind of coffee you drink, man? I want.
Who had a better year last year?
You know who had a better year last year?
What about their career? Forget about their career. Talk about now.
You want to talk about now? How about that? How about my boy in Seattle, who the Jets let go, who the Giants let go, who everybody he's played for let go? He had a better year than Daniel Jones.
Who?
And he got a contract. Gino.
I'll give you Gino. I'll give you Gino, but I'm not talking about Gino right now. I'm talking about Russell Wilson. He's better than Russell Wilson right now today.
No.
Russell Wilson's getting outplayed. Russell Wilson got outplayed minicamp by Jared Stedham. Really?
He's a Super Bowl winning quarterback, man. Come on.
No.
Come on. Like, you got to be kidding me, man.
Forget about his career. Talk about today. If you want to win this year, are you better off with Russell Wilson or Daniel Jones?
Let me tell you something about Russell Wilson. No, there's no team today. If he was available, regardless of the contract situation, we say I would take Aaron Rodgers before I take Russell Wilson. I would take Daniel Jones before I take Russell Wilson. You're crazy. Like if the situation didn't work in for the Broncos, because that happened last season. But let me tell you, I don't think there's any GM out there. If you had to put the contract aside and said, if Russell Wilson was available, I want him as my quarterback. You can't say it's not arguable. I don't think you can argue that.
It is arguable because of what Russell Wilson did last year, including the diva-ness that he brought to the locker room, having his own office. And was he a good teammate for the Broncos last year?
Who cares? Who
cares?
A lot of quarterbacks are terrible for their.
What was the team's record last year with that diva playing quarterback and sitting in his own office and not with the team?
They win only 5 games or something like that.
All right, 6? Thank you. You answered my question.
Yeah, but Russell Wilson will guarantee you 6 wins anyways. That's his average.
Eagles
on his own.
Eagles. Hurts better.
Hurts is better.
No, Dak Prescott. Sorry, Alan. It's debatable to me whether Dak Prescott is better. I'll give you Dak.
Dak is come on.
He's not better than anybody the Commanders throw out there. He is better than anybody the Commanders throw out there.
You think he's better than Heineke?
Yes.
What?
Yeah, Heineke's also playing in Atlanta. So
right now he's playing in Atlanta.
Right. But he's better than anybody the Commanders have right now. Right now. Vikings, Kirk Cousins, whatever. Kirk Cousins has got numbers and nothing else. But
oh my God!
You want me to give him to you? I'll give him to you. That's 9. He's not better than Jared Goff. He's not better than Jordan Love. He's not better. I'm sorry. He is better. He is better than Goff. He is better than Love. He is better than Fields.
Again, this guy's been to a Super Bowl, man.
Who? Goff?
Yeah.
How'd he do?
It doesn't matter. He got there.
The team took him there.
And then what he's been doing for Detroit, which I don't think
Trent Dilfer won a Super Bowl. Is he better than Daniel Jones?
Yes.
No, he's not.
I'll take Trent Dilfer over Daniel Jones any day.
First of all, he's 55 years old now, so
and I'll still take him over Daniel Jones.
Tampa Bay, no.
Oh man.
Carolina, no. Saints.
You think Daniel Jones is better than Baker Mayfield?
Yes. Baker Mayfield's played on 5 teams in the last 2 years. Well, there's a reason for that, Carlos. Carolina, no, they're not better. The Saints, I'll say, are better, even though I don't love the.
Here's the thing, Keith. And you mentioned Carolina. I believe Bryce Young will have a better season than Daniel Jones. They'll be in the playoffs.
You can believe
and the Giants won't. And it'll be because of Bryce Young. How about that?
I'll give you that. I'll say no. Derek Carr's better than Daniel Jones at the moment. Falcons quarterback situation is not better than Daniel Jones. 49ers.
They got 3 quarterbacks.
And right now, none of them can play because one of them's hurt and the other 2 stink. I'm going to give it to Daniel Jones there. Seahawks, I'll give you if Gino can repeat.
But that's the same thing the Giants are expecting from Daniel Jones. If Daniel Jones can
All right.
repeat. Oh my!
I'm giving you Gino.
I don't want. We never wanted Gino in New York to begin with. That's why he's not here.
I'm giving you I'm in this conversation. I'm giving you Gino, not put him on your team. Don't worry. The Rams. I'm not even sure if Stafford's better. I'll say he is because of his track record, and I'll give him a break last year because he was hurt a lot. And he's better than Bryce or Kyler Murray. So,
you think Daniel Jones is better than Kyler Murray?
No, yes, I do.
You were right with the first answer you gave.
No, I think Kyler Murray shows me nothing. I'm sorry. What's he done? What has he done? Daniel Jones has gotten better every single year of his career and made the playoffs last year. Took a team to the playoffs that hadn't been there in.
First of all, Daniel Jones didn't take the team to the playoffs. The Giants defense and Saquon took that team to the playoffs. So you need to ratify that situation.
But you're willing to say Jimmy G, who did the same thing, you're not penalizing him for that.
Because he's done it on several other teams.
Holding a clipboard.
I mean, he started for the Patriots and almost got you to promised land.
You're absolutely killing me. I've got him 12th best quarterback in the league.
Daniel Jones?
Right this minute.
He's still not top 5 or top 10.
He's got to play top 10 to earn his quarterback. Sean said that. Sean even said that.
Oh man.
Is Jeff George still able to throw the rock? Probably, yes.
He can throw, man. His problem was that he couldn't get out. He couldn't stay safe and out of the pocket. He couldn't run for nothing.
He also was a head case who cared about his own numbers and not winning games. He was what a waste.
I mean, that was a
really good NFL quarterback, Jeff George.
That was a crazy team, though. You know, he had Deion Sanders and Andre Rison.
Which one? He played for like 12.
I'm talking about the Falcons when he was on the Falcons.
All right.
He did play on a lot of teams.
Didn't he get into a face with one of the nicest guys in the freaking league in June Jones?
He was crazy.
Let's move on. Where are we? Getting late here already. Wow. Time goes fast. Let's talk real quick about the NIL bill.
Oh, nice.
So, bipartisan bill sponsored in Congress has a pass, number one. Bipartisan in Congress is already a kind of an oxymoron when we're talking about it anyway. But Manchin and Tommy Tuberville have put this forward. It addresses several things. It even touches on the transfer portal in saying that players can't move until the third year after they've committed or something like that. It's going to, here's what I laugh at. They put in all this stuff about health of the players and covering their health needs after they're gone out of school. It puts cap on the number of NIL deals you can have out there. It says it's going to be better policed. My question is, who's going to police all this? That's the problem. Who's policing it? They said the FTC would be involved in policing this. I still find it hard to believe. But violations will be addressed by the FTC. And if the Federal Trade Commission gets involved in this, you may see people end up going to jail. Is this a good thing? Is it real, or is this just two guys in Congress trying to get their 15 minutes? Tommy Tuberville, now again, great ties to college football. He coached well for the most part at Ole Miss, Auburn, Texas Tech, Cincinnati. Is this going to make it better? So
one of the things too is what I was reading and what I understand is that if there's NIL deals over 20,000, then they're going to be taxed, and the money will go towards the institutions that are receiving the players that are receiving these deals. So, I mean, what they're trying to do is spread the money around, in essence, to make sure that the students who get these deals don't just phase out because they got a contract, right? There's a lot of different levels to what's going on with NIL. It's still new. The third parties that are
It's not new.
working
2 years into this.
that's yeah, but 2 years is. I mean, you're talking about including a transfer portal too. Like you're talking about a lot of finance and in situations that institutions already have issues dealing with as far as giving scholarships out to your students. So, and you have other laws such as Title IX that can keep students from getting scholarships just to make the playing field level for female sports level, even with the male sports in the universities. So there's a lot of different little things going on there. So anything that comes out in the law about in bills about NIL and trying to organize it and help keep it from going crazy like it is. We hear about these situations in Miami and Ohio State and all these schools that are huge and have boosters. So anything that can just keep that as much in a bubble as possible to help control is what they're trying to go for.
You can pass all the bills you want, and until there's somebody going to police it and actually enforce it, nothing's going to happen.
And the problem is that the NCAA cannot they police it by having third parties involved.
Who?
Because what do you mean who?
This doesn't address who will address the policing of these. If this even passes, by the way.
Well, they're doing that already. Like, so universities cannot work an NIL deal. It has to be a third party.
Yeah, they're not involved at all. We know that.
Yeah. So
that's you don't really believe that, right?
What do you mean? That it's
kids. If you're gullible and you believe in Santa Claus, turn off your radios, right, your TVs right now, because there's no Santa Claus and there's nobody. If you think the universities aren't involved in a lot of these deals, you're just closing your eyes to what the situation is.
No, okay, so there's a lot of departments that have to deal with these situations with NIL, but the university is one department. They cannot deal with just saying, "Here, Joe Schmo, you got $3 million on an NIL deal. Okay, fine," and then stamp. There's a check for you every month. That's not how that works. So,
no, but who's giving them a list of players to go offer money to? Who's given the collectives the list of players from other programs to say, go offer this guy more money than he's getting from Miami or he's getting from Alabama. Go offer him more money. That's what, and this bill does address that, by the way, that you can't do that, that there is no pay for play. It'll still happen if nobody polices it, though. If you're still going to leave the universities to police themselves, then nothing's going to happen. Nothing good.
Right, but within that, the structure is that the university has to have another kind of organization to help support that situation, because they can't do it on their own. Because that's a lot. That's a lot of kids. It's a lot of students.
They talk
student athletes.
I know, and they say they're trying to protect the student athlete, right? Because they want the education part of it to be protected as well, which has gotten totally lost in this whole conversation. And one of the things I said was that the NIL paired with the transfer portal and unlimited movement was the worst thing that ever happened to college football, because you can be a free agent every single year. Look at JT Daniels. He's playing for his fourth team in 4 years.
How many degrees? But how many
degrees? He'll come away with none.
I mean, I mean,
I don't know what his
that's besides the point.
That's not fair, but still, I mean, you know. And you don't level the playing field. That's a laughable thing about this whole thing. When the NIL thing started, it was about the individual players. It wasn't about leveling the playing field. Because guess what? The playing field wasn't level before. It's not level now. It's never going to be level.
I mean, if you know college sports, you know that even trying to level anything, the difference between Division I through Division III, that's already a mess before you even add NIL to the situation, right? Because even if you have Division I sports, but you're in a small mid-level conference or a smaller mid-level university or college, you're not going to get the same that somebody from a Power 5 school gets, right? You're not.
Or come to this. You know what? I highly doubt this bill will ever get passed anyway, just because nothing gets passed.
Well, that's a problem with the last 2 years. Everything that's been taken to to the Supreme Court, even to Congress, has been amended. Like they just been, they're just changing and trying to cut things out. But the more time they spend on trying to do that and not get anything passed, you see this, what people have been calling a Wild West type of situation with NIL. So. Which
is exactly what I said would happen, by the way. You didn't give me credit for that one.
Well, no, I'm telling you that it is, but it's not that nobody's trying to figure out how to control it.
No, because they said universities, you guys police yourselves. That's like telling Willie Sutton, protect the money in this bank, would you? Because we don't want somebody to steal it. I mean, God, jeez.
Right. No, I've been working on a type of show that, and I'll try to see if I can explain, or we can have people come on and actually put down what is actually going on with these students and how it's working, because it seems like everybody's getting money, but at the end of the day, there's more lawsuits right now with NIL than because of how these contracts work, and that it's actually affecting a lot of these the athletic departments with the students. So,
academia is the root of our society, good and bad. CA says he's right. Maybe it's better these kids don't get a freaking college education anyway, because they only come out of there brainwashed anyway. But that's a different show.
No, I don't know what university you'd like talking about.
Anyone you want. One last quick topic, because we only got time for one more. Aaron Rodgers finally decided to restructure his contract to help his team. Packers got to love hearing this, because for 15 years he said, give me my money, but make the team better, and bitched and moaned they wouldn't make it better. But he took his every year, never once restructured his contract. And again, I'll compare it to Tom Brady, only in the sense that Tom Brady was rarely in the top 10 paid quarterbacks in football, because he would take less money to make the team better.
Yeah,
Aaron Rodgers wants to do this, and good for the Jets. But if I'm the Packers, I'm like, dude, they've been taking those magic mushrooms sooner.
I think one of the things that we tend to forget is that he's in New York now, and the taxes on what your income is a lot higher than a lot of other states. First thing. Second is that
I'm not going to feel sorry for the money he is paying taxes.
Just because you restructure your contract doesn't mean you're getting a pay cut. You might think Tom Brady was one of the least paid persons in the NFL, but that's not the case.
On a yearly basis, it was. He deferred his money. He gets it. He got his money later.
Yeah. Okay. So he's not necessarily taking a pay cut. They're just restructuring it in a sense where he doesn't, where the team, it's team friendly, but these people like Tom Brady, Peyton Manning, and now Aaron Rodgers will get money. They're just not getting all of it up front.
Well, Rodgers wanted his money all now. Don't tell me later. I want it now, because psychedelics cost a lot of money.
Look at the these are not Bobby Bonilla type moves, but they do still, the athletes still get their money. The teams get a friendly deal. The rosters should improve. Sometimes they don't, but I mean,
I'm glad Aaron Rodgers finally woke up to the realities of the NFL when he was 40 years old.
I think that his representation did well by saying, hey, calm down on your income, because you're in New York now. And even though he probably is not going to be living in New York and stays in Jersey, which is a little bit friendlier on your pocket, he's still going to play in New York. So when you play in New York or wherever you play, you got to pay taxes for that state that you play in. So.
Yeah, you don't have to tell me. He still ends up with more money than I get after I pay my taxes.
Hey, I'd get you better than Spectrum at this moment.
Listen, Spectrum, guys, one more blast at Spectrum. Don't get Spectrum. I don't care if you have to go get AOL dial-up. Go get it.
I got that CD if you want it.
Available somewhere. Jesus Christ. Thanks, Carlos. Great job today, guys.
Good weekend, guys.
It looked better from my end. We'll see. I'll check it out later.
There's a couple
later with the Major League Baseball update. Not sure if we'll have a Let's Talk New York Sports later. Dan Harris is a little under the weather, so I may go solo, and we may skip it today, but we'll see how that goes at 5 o'clock. So, Dan, feel better, buddy. And Carlos, we'll talk to you next week.
Get well soon, Dan. Everybody have a great weekend.
Have a great weekend, guys.